What's happening with the US dollar today? Is the supremacy of the US dollar, has it ended? Is it still there? What's really going on with the Saudi Arabia-US deal that everyone is talking about these days? This entire thing that Saudi Arabia signed a deal which lasted 50 years and now does not exist anymore. Is that really true news? Is it fake? Is it real? What's going on? To understand this in further detail and also understand its impact on India as a country and Indian millennials as a whole, we need to really understand the historical significance of what's really happened on June 9th. So for this, let's take a small trip back to the year 1971. What happened in 1971? The President of the United States of America, Mr. Richard M. Nixon, decided that he will go away from the gold standard Bretton Woods concept of how money is printed to a new system where it's just free-flowing fiat currency. That basically meant that the number of US dollars printed was not based on the amount of gold reserves it had. It could print how much ever dollars it could want.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
And now, this coupled with what happened in the year 1944, when then President of the United States of America, Mr. Franklin D. Roosevelt, decided, him along with 44 different allies of the US, actually came up with this concept of using US dollar as the supreme currency. Basically what Richard M. Nixon did and what Franklin D. Roosevelt did, made the US dollar very, very strong. Now what happened in the year 1974? In the year 1974, Richard M. Nixon met the King of Saudi Arabia, King Faisal, and struck a deal with him. He said, listen, Saudi Arabia, you have oil, I'm going to pay you dollars and you're going to send me oil. But at the same time, with all the money that I'm giving you, you're also going to buy weapons, military equipment from the US. That's not only that, there was another catch added by Mr. Richard M. Nixon. What was that catch, you may ask? And I am going to tell you the answer. The catch is simple. All the profits made by selling oil in dollars is now going to be invested in the US Treasury bill, aka US markets, aka US bond market. And this was the deal signed in 1974. And this deal was signed for 50 years. And that ended on June 9th, 2024. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we all know that oil is a major commodity that the world runs with. Without oil, there is virtually no economy today. And oil-producing countries, in terms of production, Saudi Arabia and Russia lead the world in that. In terms of reserves, Iran and Russia lead the space. And I'm going to come to Iran because Iran also plays a very important role, but hold that thought. But let's now continue talking about Saudi Arabia and the US. Their relationship in the last 50 years has been US buying oil, Saudis buying military equipment, US selling and buying more oil, and other countries also paying dollars, and Saudi Arabia using these profits and investing all that extra profits in the US economy. Basically, that strengthened the US economy, that strengthened the US dollar, and it made sure the US always had an economic superiority over the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And this lasted for 50 years. Now, coming to 2024, a lot of things have changed in the geopolitical landscape. Saudi Arabia is no longer the same old Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has changed. Saudi Arabia has become a regional player. Saudi Arabia has also become a regional powerhouse within Asia and also Middle East. Case in point, look at the kind of relationships the Saudis are building with India and other countries. Now, what are the other things that have changed? There is conflicts happening in the Middle East as we speak. And the conflicts are the conflict in Yemen, which is basically a proxy war between the Saudis and the Iranians. And at the same time, there's obviously the conflict happening in Israel with Palestine as well. But the funny thing is, just before the conflict that happened in Israel, the Saudis were almost about to sign a peace treaty or a sort of a strategic partnership with Israel, or they were about to normalize relationships with Israel. But of course, the conflict started and that ended. But that being said, Saudi Arabia of today under Mohammed bin Salman has definitely changed. And that's why they refused to sign this agreement. Because in the world where there's no longer just one mega superpower, we have multiple powerhouses as well. We have China, we have Russia, we have US, and we also have India playing a small role here as well. That means Saudis now can sell oil in different currencies. India can buy Saudi oil paying INR, and India can also buy oil from Iran paying INR. And this is what this entire system is going to do. And that's why the dollar supremacy is going down. But I'll tell you one small caveat here and why I believe that this is too much of an exaggerated news saying that the dollar supremacy is ended. Because I feel it's still going to stay for at least some more time. The reason is simple data. Close to 156 or 136 billion dollars of Saudi money is parked in the US treasuries. But US treasuries is worth much more than that. So that means it's just 1% of what is actually the US treasury holding. If you look at it, 1% disruption is not going to change much. That basically means to say that the dollar is still there and is still surviving and it will still thrive. And there are also a few people who claim that since dollar supremacy is going down, the other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, everything will go up. Well, let me tell you that there's no correlation between Bitcoin and dollar. There's a lot of similarities in how the markets fluctuate on a daily basis, but there is no actual correlation from a fundamental analysis point of view with these two things. This is more of a geopolitical game than more of a geoeconomic game. This is the story, or this is the history of it. Now let's come to how it affects India. Now let me tell you one thing. India is part of BRICS, and last year BRICS opened its doors to enter other countries into the system. BRICS extended invitations to, guess who? Saudi Arabia. Guess who else? Iran. Guess who else? Argentina, and many other countries. Now if Iran and Saudi Arabia agree to join BRICS, they are actually joining a country base or a group of nations that includes Russia, India, and China. Keep in mind, Russia and China are already considered to be powerful countries. And India is also a major country in the world because it has the largest population in the world and it also has the fastest growing economy of the world. All these countries in mind, and if Saudi Arabia and Iran decide to join these countries, that means the entire strategic partnership, the entire oil production, everything will be designed under the framework of this particular organization. And India is definitely an integral part of BRICS. In fact, it's one of the founding partners of BRICS. It was not BRICS, it started as BRIC. It only had Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Then South Africa joined, and now BRICS is actually extending its own group to add more and more countries.
The BRICS group of emerging countries on Monday officially welcomed 5 new members to its ranks. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Iran and Ethiopia were invited to join the group in August 2023.
This basically means to say that now the world is no longer looking at a USA-centric zone from a geo-economic angle only. It's actually looking at different countries. Now, payment systems, everything were all designed, defined and directed by the US of A until now. But now things are going to change. The banking system is going to change. Everything is going to change because it's now going to be between one country and another country, and it's no longer going to be USA dictating terms to how other countries should operate from a financial level. So keep all these things in mind. You will see that there will be a lot of opportunities coming up, especially in the Middle East, especially in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and that's how Indian millennials can leverage this, and also India as a country can leverage this. But there's a very interesting dichotomy here. Saudi Arabia and Iran are at a proxy war in Yemen. But Saudi Arabia and Iran are both poised to join the BRICS. Saudi Arabia and Iran are two countries that have huge oil reserves. Iran is a close ally of Russia. Saudi Arabia is a close ally of the United States of America. Now, how will the system work here? Before this entire 50-year meeting ended, there was a very interesting diplomatic channel that opened up between Saudi Arabia and Iran. The foreign ministers of Saudi Arabia and foreign minister of Iran met and actually opened a conversation. And this entire conversation was brokered by China. And now this is the power game that the whole world is playing. USA, China, the two major powers of the world, are actually responsible. On one hand, Saudi Arabia ended this entire dollar deal with US, and on the other, China brokered a sort of a negotiation between Saudi Arabia and Iran, which is still ongoing. This particular news is as exciting and as interesting and as enticing as it can get, because this will give us information going forward what to expect from the world. There are certain things which are unpredictable, but there are certain things that you can definitely predict. And let's see how these countries assimilate within the BRICS gambit, and let's see how BRICS takes it forward. Well, that's basically the crux of the entire situation that has happened. So, to answer your question, is the dollar supremacy completely dead? Well, the answer is no, it's still there to survive. Is dollar going down? Not really, but to some extent. Is the United States of America a declining power completely because of this? Not at all. It is still as powerful as it was before. So, be very careful and mindful of what kind of content you consume on everything that is happening in the world, because this will help you shape your narrative and help you look for better opportunities in a much better way. Anyway, this is just a small story and a small piece of information that we wanted to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share and subscribe. Share this video to people who would really enjoy learning something new, and do comment below and let us know what other topics you would like us to cover going forward. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and see you very, very soon. Goodbye.